Good morning, everybody. Post-run walk-off Greg Schleter here. We were blessed to go see my parents down in Dublin, Ohio, 2.5-hour drive. And Joseph, who works at Damascus, joined us. So Damascus is a Catholic mission campus in the middle of the state of Ohio. We don't get to see a lot of them, and we're delighted that he was able to break away and join us. So anyways, he calls sometime into our being at my parents' home, and he says, "Dad, I'm okay, but I got in a car accident. Car's okay, you know, this happened. It all seemed like those classical happenstance things that can happen on the highway. Anyway, he's safe, good. He pulls up in the driveway, and, you know, I help him take care of things with regard to insurance and all that. Anyways, later on, a few hours later, after supper, delightful time, you know, he gets on the road, we say goodbye, pray over each other, all that good stuff we do in our house. And he calls 10 minutes later, and I'm kidding as I say, "You got in another accident." And he has a hard time speaking a little bit, but he musters it up and he says, "What happened?" Well, he was on-ramping on the highway. His hood, which must have been knocked loose during the first accident, let loose and flew up and shattered his windshield, so he could not see. It totally obscured everything. Fortunately, he's able to pull off to the right side of the road, and by God's grace, he's okay. But what a scary experience. That could have been catastrophic. So, number one is, don't take for granted that when you say goodbye to your children, you leaving, them leaving, that you're going to hear from them again. Tell them you love them, pray over them. It's those moments that are the measure of our parenthood. So, here's the bigger theme. I've been listening, as you know, to Joe Rogan, and still listening to the episode with Tristan, who's behind The Social Dilemma, which chronicles this attention economy of these social medias and how they cannibalize us, how they prey upon our need for esteem, how the design literally is geared to addicting us. You might call it an attention circus, as it has become about. And Tristan is just genius. He just understands this dynamic. And so see the movie The Social Dilemma. And the key thing he says is, we got to be aware of it, mindfulness. You know, why are we picking up that phone? What do we expect to get out of it? You know, but I want to go deeper and simply say, connecting it to the car, because we are, as a civilization, as families, a car that is broken. And there's a piece of us that we don't even know has flown up and smashed and hit us in the place that we're supposed to view the world. And I would argue that it's not just social media, it doesn't have that much power, but it's our affections, our deepest desires, that motive within us. Why do we do what we do? Why do we turn to the things we turn? Because if we're not aware of the dignity of our affection, that part of our hearts, shall we say, our desires, if we're not aware of what they're made for, no matter what we turn them to, we're going to be languishing, right? We're going to feel alienated, we're going to feel empty, and we're subject to manipulation by forces that want to keep us so because they make money. And as we've seen in this latest election cycle, the capacity to engender polarization through this. People pining for their esteem at their deepest level. And until we recognize the pretenders to the throne, and to recognize the dissatisfaction they're bringing, until we take the time, and I'm just going to invoke Psalm 46:10, to be still and know that He is God. Beyond our senses that are spinning like a wheel, like a top, and the enemy just loves that. Until we take time and break through the awkwardness, right, of just sitting still, ideally in the presence of Jesus in the Eucharist, but be still and discover that deepest inner part of ourselves for God's indwelling Spirit, we're going to be adrift. We're going to be, like Matthew 7, building on shifting sand. In this new year, it's beautiful snow falling like new falling grace. This is what God wants to offer us. But it requires that we recognize when something, that thing in our pocket, is pining for attention, and we say no. Instead, we say, "Lord, I want to be still. I want to experience your indwelling Spirit in my heart and my mind." And then if that carries over to our relationships, we will be instruments of that thing for which souls are most pining for, with unseen like buttons, love buttons, that are going off in people's minds and hearts about us, if we can bear for them that deep intimacy for which their hearts are yearning. So know who you are, know the dignity of your heart and your affections are made for God, and know that He gave us families for the purpose of fostering this. Let's be a culture that gets past pixels to people. And join us at ilovemyfamily.us. Have a most blessed weekend.